So I'm here sharing 10 things that I can tell you that I have learned or I'm learning from art. This is really kind of a report from the middle. I'm sharing something that I'm knee deep in the experience of. Um, I think as an artist, you're never really done learning, and these are things that I am learning all the time. Um, 10 things. The first, ordinary things are worth celebrating. I think art is such a good teacher in this sense. Human beings tend to skim right over the parts of life that become ordinary, the everyday. We just stop seeing them. For me, art helps me to reimagine my surroundings. Everyone has a unique perspective on the world. Ordinary things in life contribute to that perspective. And I think really inviting them in to my art has made me appreciate my everyday life a lot more. In fact, this month, March 2021, I'm doing this art challenge. The hashtag is 31 ordinary days. So every day I'm looking at my environment. I'm choosing to focus on one part of my outside environment, and I'm creating art from that. I'm just letting ordinary things inspire me. So ordinary things are number one. Number two, start things before you're ready. If you're anything like me, there's this tendency to wait until you're an expert, or wait until you've done enough research, or wait until you look the part, or till you're old enough, or till you feel like someone supports you, or you feel like you've watched enough YouTube videos. Um, I think art really has taught me that, you know, there are no experts in art. We're all students. Um, I just don't see any way around this. Um, that can be hard to accept, you know. But if you don't come to terms with it, you'll never start. So I just, for me, start before you're ready, share before you're ready. I think sharing is really important too. You'll never put your special calling out into the world unless you do that. So that's number two. Three, bravery equals vulnerability. Um, our friend Brene Brown, if you're a fan like me, talks a lot about this. Bravery doesn't mean a puffed up chest and gusto. It means stripping the cool factor. It means being willing to just share what's hard, what feels a little close to your heart, what may feel a little bit raw. Um, if that isn't the story of an artist, I really don't know what is. Um, but I think, art really teaches and has taught me bravery and just being vulnerable. Um, Another thing, number four, the fourth thing that art has taught me is play. Um, I think it's really easy to grow up and forget um, the part of ourself that needs to play. And I think art is really a part of bringing that back. It's an important part of being a human being, is just bringing levity and joy into our lives. And I think art has a really important part um, of doing that. Another thing that art has taught me, number five, is patience. There's no hurrying a piece of art, in my opinion. Um, it's done when it's done. It can be hard to put timelines in creative projects. Sometimes when I do commissions, there are hard timelines, but even then it's like, it's just hard to say, okay, I'm going to finish it by this day. For me, I always have to leave a night and come back to it the next morning and make sure that it's done. So just patience. I think resting, returning, those concepts of resting and returning are really key for me. So art really teaches me patience. Voice. This is number six for me. Some people call this magic. Every artist has their own special magic, the way that they show up uniquely in the world. I'm learning not to be afraid of other people's magic, which may sound funny, but we're all equipped uniquely. No artist's magic is exactly like yours, and vice versa. It's super easy when you put something out into the universe that people can see, it's easy to compare, yourself to other people. And I just think for me, remembering that my voice is different than anybody else's, um, I think that could be a real source of comfort. Um, I think, I think this also can be comforting in that it kind of frees us to try different styles out. If you have a favorite artist who is doing something really awesome and you feel like you want to try that out, I think knowing that your voice will do something different with that style is freeing. I don't know about you, but I don't like the idea of copying somebody else. But I think knowing that my style and my particular magic is different than anybody else's, um, that is super comforting. Another thing that art teaches me is just um, it's a real, it kind of real time teacher of the connection between mind and body. So my number 7 is just the connection between mind and body. There's a real interdependence for me. Over the last year, I've started running regularly. I find that this practice of moving my body really opens up my mind. Um, it just gets ideas circulating and it fuels my art in so many ways. Um, Moving makes me happier in general, which makes me more likely to show up in my art studio. And it opens up space in my mind and my heart for new ideas artistically. So I really, those things are really, I'm starting to really see how connected those things are. So movement and art um, really are connected for me. My number 8 is connection. Being happy and authentic is part of the benefit of art for me. And sharing art helps me to connect with other people. So I see that there's a real link to relationship with art, and it helps me to show up better for other people. Number 9, integration. I really believe that art has helped me connect lots of the dots in my life. Developing my voice as an artist has included accessing memories of art from my childhood, bringing in my child self, welcoming that self. Integrating for me has meant really welcoming all parts of myself to the table, going from separate parts to the whole. I think, what this has looked like at different parts in my journey is, you know, showing up to a job in a way that was more healthy, even though it was outside of my art practice. So integration is a really big piece for me. And then number 10, failing isn't a thing. Not everyone has a thing with avoiding failure. I know that. But for those of you who do, like me, some people square off with failure, they brush it off, um, they learn from it. Hats off to those people. For me, it's really has been a really learned experience. Failure has been painful for me. It's been a wrestling experience. And I really don't know if I would have learned from failure in the same way if I didn't have art in my life. With art, not everything is a masterpiece. Not everything turns out. In fact, for me, very few of my hundreds of starts are pieces that I look at now and I say, yes, that one worked. Seeing my past work with love and fondness is a huge blessing. Seeing it with eyes of a parent looking at a child is a huge gift to myself. Seeing my past work without the judgment of failure, but with the lens of learning, is one of the greatest things that art has taught me. And of course, just that instinct to keep doing it. Um, that's taught me so much. So, those are my 10 lessons, the 10 things that art has taught me, is teaching me, the things that I'm deep in learning right now. What have you learned? I'd love to know, what did I miss? What's not on my list? What's on your list? Send me a note. Take care.